Chapter 3. The week dragged on with glacial speed. Every day was a repeat of the one before. Fritz tried keeping track of the days of the week, but found himself forgetting whether or not he'd counted the day he was on. He settled into the rhythm of work, eat, sleep, and only when he clamped his chains on during the carriage ride did he wish for more. Anthony no longer spoke to him. They barely looked at each other in passing. Fritz tried to apologize once for being harsh with him, but Anthony just shrugged him off, said not to worry about it, and walked away. While breaking up rocks on the building site, Anthony walked by with a bucket to carry away rubble. He looked older and more drawn. Fritz set his pick down and stooped over to pick up some rocks. A carriage rolled up and an immaculately dressed man stepped out. He had gold-plated armor like the rest of the troops, but his was decorated with intricate designs and had fur around the neck. His billed cap had a giant plume of purple exploding from the crown, and his cape was trimmed with gold material that sparkled in the sun. Fritz paused and looked at the man. "Who is he?" he asked without moving his lips, a skill that all the men, and now he, had perfected. "General Bazra," Anthony said back and held out his bucket. "He collects subjects for the games." Fritz studied the general. He looked muscular and would have been imposing were it not for the plume. On closer inspection, Fritz noticed his jaw was soft and a section of stomach squished out beneath the molded breastplate. His legs, partially hidden by his tunic, were stumpy and lacked any muscular definition. The graying in his beard flaked as he spoke to Roselle, and Fritz almost laughed. It wasn't the gray of a wizened noble, but the remnants of a pastry he'd been eating behind the curtains of his carriage. "Why is he here?" Fritz mouthed quietly. Anthony didn't answer. He set the bucket down. "If you make it back home, will you tell my family what happened to me?" Fritz stared at him. "You're going to get whipped. Quiet." "Will you?" Anthony demanded. "Yes," Fritz hissed, hoping Roselle wouldn't hear. Anthony picked up a rock and strode over to where Roselle and General Bazra were still engaged in conversation. The men stopped working and watched him, exchanging glances of curiosity and dread. The soldiers guarding the worksite didn't notice Anthony until he had stopped 6 feet from Roselle's back. One of them cried out as Anthony raised his rock over his head, but the warning served only to make Roselle turn his head to see what the matter was. Anthony let the rock fly, and it smashed into the foreman's face. Blood spurted from the cut, and he screamed a very high-pitched wail of pain. Soldiers rushed forward and yanked Anthony's arms back, causing him to cry out in pain. Roselle bobbed his head up and down, trying to assuage the pain, screaming and cursing the whole time. General Bazra looked on with a bemused smile. The possibility of attack didn't seem to make him nervous. "Him!" Roselle shrieked between epithets and pointed at Anthony. "Take him and tell your gladiator to make it slow." Fritz felt his stomach lurch. He grabbed his pick and moved toward the cluster of soldiers, but a hand yanked him back. He looked up, and Nico shook his head. Fritz stayed planted and watched as soldiers bound Anthony and threw him in the general's carriage. As the general drove away, Roselle ran through the site, whipping men as he passed. "Get back to work!" Thank you for coming back for episode 4 of David Narrates Books. I'm currently reading Dance of the Nutcracker by Paul Thompson, and this episode is about chapter 3, giving you a little bit of a sneak preview. But I want to go out of the book for just a moment here, and I wanted to show you the easiest way to get your hands on these books. So here you should be seeing my screen. I've shared my browser, and I'm on Amazon.com. And if you search, I guess I probably should back up a step. If you search Amazon for the Nutcracker Trilogy. There we go. See, I'm already in the Kindle store, so that's going to be the fastest way to find these 3 books right here. I do want to show you, though, if you start from your home screen. So let's say you've just opened your browser for the first time. You've just navigated to Amazon, and you type into the search Amazon field, and I say the I can't spell, Nutcracker Trilogy. Okay, it actually did something different for me this time than it did before, probably because I had viewed these previously. So you may have to scroll down just a little bit, but this is what you're looking for. So actually, I'm going to go back to the Kindle store. See if I can do that quickly here. Kindle store. Hit search again. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so now we're back to where we started. Here's the 3 books. Amazon's not quite showing them order, but you can see here in parentheses book 1, book 2, book 3. If you have Kindle Unlimited, you can read book 1 as part of your Kindle Unlimited subscription. But books 2 and 3 are also available as Kindle ebooks. Now, if we click into one of these books, so let's look at book number 1. So here's Curse of the Rat King. You can see that the different options that are available to you. You've got Kindle audiobook, which is near and dear to my heart. If you have an Audible trial or if you subscribe to Audible, you'll be able to hear that there. You can also get the paperback. All right, pretty cool. And let's see, here's a bundle. You can actually get all 3 books in Kindle or paperback format all together. So very cool. I just wanted to take a second to kind of show you where you can find these books. All 3 books are available as Kindle and paperback through Amazon, and then books 1 and 2 are on Audible, because obviously we're working on book number 3, which will be available on Audible very soon. All right, I think that's all I've got for you for episode number 4. So join me again in the next one, and I'll give you a little sneak peek of chapter 4. Just hear the audio. I apologize that you couldn't see any of that I just shared. But if you want to, what you can do is you can go over to davidsheely.com and you can view the video of this blog there. So I would encourage you to